Hey guys, I'm Rick with Let's Level Up, and today we're going to be talking about and reviewing the Mage Wars game. Now, I have not been able to stop talking about this game for a year now. It was first printed, I believe, in 2012 is when it first came out, and it wasn't until last year that I actually found it, and I actually found it by watching their now Vice President of Business Development, Scott Morris's channel, Crits Happen, and watching him play this a year and a half ago. It is a game that immediately got my attention. I'm a very strategic player, and not necessarily that I'm very good. I just really enjoy games that give me an opportunity to strategize against my opponent and try to outthink them, basically. Now, Will Wheaton said in his vlog that every great game has a perfect balance of skill and luck. And I'm paraphrasing there a bit. Mage Wars is no exception. Now, some of the other games that are dueling mage games, they'll have a deck of cards that you'll actually draw from. And then you'll play those decks out of your hand. Now, there's a problem with that. My opponents can essentially make my hand go away, so I'm just drawing one card off the top. I could not draw into my mana resource that I need and then not be able to play my game. I also could draw a really bad hand starting out and not what I need, forcing me to mulligan and take fewer cards. Mage Wars gets rid of all that with this really awesome mechanic. Now, this is a spell book. Now, in this spell book, I have up to 120 levels of spells, depending on my mage type, and I get to customize this however I want. During my planning phase, I actually get to pick 2 spells out of this book, as do you, and play them within the next turn. Now, there's all different kinds of spells in this game. There are creatures, there are conjurations, there are enchantments and curses and incantations and attack spells, as well as equipment. It all boils down to who can play have the best game plan and get the best rolls, which brings us to our luck mechanism. They substitute the randomness of a deck and add in something that I think is a bit more visceral and I find a lot more entertaining, and that is combat rolls. So I actually roll dice equal to whatever my strength is at that time and whatever attack I'm doing. So if I'm casting a spell that gives me 6 dice, I'm going to roll 6 dice. Now these are D2s essentially. They're D6s, but they only go up to 2, and they have 2 blank sides as well. So that means with 6 dice, there's a possibility that I can roll nothing. There's also a possibility I can get all crits and roll 12 damage. Now, there is a ton of stuff that goes into this game, and some people can find it just a bit daunting. But I would put pretty much anything on the line that says once you play through a game of Mage Wars, you're going to enjoy it if you're a fan of dueling mage games like Magic the Gathering. Mage Wars is a more, again, visceral, more strategic game, I think, in the long run. I don't have to worry about who has the net deck, because in its core, this is an LCG, which means when you buy the core set, you have these same cards that I do within my core set. Now, of course, there are expansion packs that come along, like the Beastmaster and Warlord, or the Necromancer and the Druid, which are basically introducing 2 new mages and a host of other cards and spell types for me to, again, customize my spellbooks with. There are also spell tome expansions, which allows you to get multiple copies from spells from the base set, as well as introduces some new cards. All in all, it is less of a grind of having to open up a booster pack and maybe get nothing or get something that's worthless and having to worry about that. I don't really like that, as you can probably tell from my voice. I really like the LCG approach, and I think that a lot of games we've seen, especially from Fantasy Flight, with things like the Star Wars and their Lord of the Rings and their Game of Thrones and their Call of Cthulhu LCGs, it gives us again a better chance to even the playing field with our opponents, and it makes it for a more engaging experience. I don't have to worry about coming against some guy with a $3,000 net deck and me playing my starter deck I bought for $15.95. Mage Wars gets rid of that. And again, it substitutes that luck percentage with having that draw, with adding in a dice mechanism, which is a lot of fun. Now we're going to take a look at Mage Wars on the table and show you a bit of how it's played. Now I'm not going to get into all the details, and I would recommend if you're interested in learning how it's played, you can look at Mage Wars' official YouTube channel, which is just Mage Wars, and they have really good tutorial videos narrated by Alan Girding that introduce the different phases of the game and walk you through it. I will say, however, that within the next few weeks, we're going to be introducing some different starter videos for you and teaching you how to play the game with, not necessarily how to play the game, but how to play a mage specifically. So we'll show you what I like to do with the Beastmaster or the Warlock, and then let you build on from there. Alright, so welcome to the arena. Now here is a very high level of how this game is going to work. And again, there's a lot to this, but don't get discouraged. We're going to get through this together, okay? Mage Wars, in its core, is a game of combating mages, and they're fought within an arena like this. Now, the arena, as you can see, is divided up into squares, and these are called zones. Now, my zones are very important whenever we're talking about things like range or movement. And we'll get into more of that in a bit later. As you can see, we're going to start off in opposing corners with my opponent over here and me over here in the bottom right. Now, we're also going to have a set of dice, an Oxford D12, an initiative token, and a host of other tokens that I've got in this little tackle box here to help keep things divided. We've got damage tokens, mana tokens, we've got different effects and abilities and conditions and all sorts of different things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that comes with this game, and they introduce more with every expansion, which is insane. I don't know how these guys think of it all. By the way, did you see this roll? I just rolled 9 attack dice and I got 2. That's 1 and 1. 2. That's kind of my luck when it comes to this game, and but I don't get too mad at it because, again, it's so, whenever I hit and it's hard and it's awesome, and then when I miss, my opponent is just ecstatic. That's one of those games that kind of has an ebb and a flow to it, which is nice. Again, we've got my spell book here, which is packed with pretty much the starter Beastmaster kit. Now, to get things started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my mage out of the book. I'm going to put him in the bottom right corner, and I'm going to add one of my action tokens to him, which are, my color is blue, my opponent is red, and I'm going to add a quick cast token to him. Now, quick casting is an interesting action. It allows me to kind of break up the monotony of only activating and doing one thing. Since I'm a mage and I'm awesome, I can do a little bit more on my turns than you would normally expect, or what normally a creature could do. The quick cast token allows me to perform any quick action spell on my turn just by flipping this thing over. Very handy. We'll get into more of actions here a bit later. What I really like to do now is take a look at the Beastmaster player card. And as you can see here, my Beastmaster has got a 120 spellbook power, which means if I build a custom spellbook for this mage, I can only have up to 120 levels of spells in there. He has 36 life, so while we're doing this, I'm going to set up my tableau as well. We'll start with life. This black piece I'm going to put at the 36 mark, and the red piece I'm going to put at 0 because I haven't been hit yet. I have 0 armor to start out, so I'm kind of squishy. I have 9 channeling, so I'm going to put this black marker here on channeling at 9, and then my base mana is 10 to start the game out. And if I can, I'm going to just move this tableau off to the side there, like that. Now, the other traits of my Beastmaster are really stinking cool, and I love this mage so much. First, he's trained in the nature school, which means that nature spells are kind of his forte. It also means that fire spells are going to cost triple if I'm going to put them into my spell book. Now, that could be a problem if I want to throw things like Fireball on there. They don't say you can't, but they do add quite a bit of a penalty on there. But if you wanted to be the Beastmaster who burnt the forest down, that's your prerogative. You can set it up. Beastmaster has 3 distinct abilities that we'll go to very briefly. He has quick summoning, which means if he's summoning a level 1 beast, he can summon it as a quick action. This is a very, very powerful ability. Normally, quick creatures always come in as a full round attack, or rather a full action. And this is something that allows me to potentially summon 2 beasts in one turn. Again, they're level 1s, they're going to be squishy, but you get enough of them out there, and you buff them the right way, those things are going to be nasty. We also have the pet ability. Now, the pet ability is very cool. I can actually spend a couple more mana and put a pet token down on a beast that I control. That beast is going to get stronger, it's going to deal more damage, have more armor, and have more life. And if I'm in the same zone, it's going to get an additional attack die. It can really make a really small creature into a very formidable foe, or a big creature into something that is absolutely nasty. The Beastmaster is also highly skilled in combat, so he has the battle skill, which means anytime he's doing a melee attack, he's going to have +1 die, which is very important. We're going to take our character card, and we're going to put it over here next to our tableau. And again, I generally have these off the table, but this game's so big, I wanted to have a lot of room to show what's going on here with the actual board. Okay, let's walk through the different phases of the game. The first stage is the ready stage. This is a stage where we're all doing things concurrently, and it's actually going to be one of the faster stages in the game. The game is divided into 2 stages. There's the ready stage, and then there's the action stage, which is the meat and the potatoes of what we're doing. Let's talk about the ready stage. The first part here is the initiative phase. To start the game out, we're going to roll a d12, and whoever gets the highest is going to get this initiative icon. This initiative icon is going to go next to some of our stuff here on the left, or rather on the right. In every initiative phase, we're going to pass the initiative token to the opposite player. So that means if I start the game with initiative, the next round, my opponent will have the initiative, and they'll get to go first, basically. The next stage is the reset stage. So here you notice that I've got these action markers on my character, designated by the white starburst and the white Mage Wars logo. Now, at the beginning of every reset phase, we're going to make sure that all of our action markers are in the upright position, which means that the white is showing. Otherwise, they'd look something like this, and they'd just be empty. So we're going to go through, and it's really easy with our first thing, because we only have 1 set of tokens to do, but when we have 6 or 7 creatures on the board, it can take a little bit of time. The next phase is going to be the channeling phase. Here's where we actually harness our abilities and get more mana. Now we start the game with 10, but as you can see, the Beastmaster's skill in channeling is 9, which means we're going to go from 10 to 19, which is a lot of mana. Next, we're going to have the upkeep phase. Now, the upkeep phase is one that you only have to do things if you have an effect or something that triggers during upkeep. Now, there are a ton of different status effects that happen on your upkeep, like burn. Now, we're playing the Warlock here, and burn is one of his bread and butter techniques. A burn token forces us to roll an attack die and take that much direct damage if we have a burn token on us. Now, all actions, or rather, most markers can be removed on the upkeep phase by paying mana or life, depending on the marker. Now, I generally don't like to do that, and I generally let the luck roll happen. In the burn condition specifically, if I were to roll an empty cube, I would essentially be able to remove that token without paying any mana. Now, that's a heck of a gamble because there's only 2 empty sides on this die, and the other side is all direct damage, so you can potentially take 2 damage on a creature if it's got burn. Burn can also stack. I don't want to really make this so much Warlock heavy, but you can have multiple markers on a creature. So if you've got 6 stacks of burn, when that upkeep phase comes around, man, that's going to be nasty. You're going to be rolling 1 die 6 times, or paying 12 mana to remove them. And again, you can pick. You can remove 3, you can roll for 3, you get to pick however that is. Chances are you're going to take some damage, and it's going to be direct and nasty. The next phase is the planning phase.
we're going to open up our spell books and browse through our spells to find the whatever it is that we're wanting to do. For starters, I want to be able to get a Timberwolf out on the table. The Timberwolf is a 2nd level nature creature. It costs 9 mana. It is a full round action, and you're going to summon it into your zone. It also has 2 armor, 10 health, and an attack bite that does, 4 attack damage. Anytime we prepare a spell, we're going to pull it out of our book and put it face down onto the table. Okay, we're going to prepare 2 spells on this. So the other spell we're going to get some equipment out on turn 1 as well. And let me just find that really quick. I want to make sure I get my Ring of Beasts out, because this allows me to play Beasts at a lower mana cost, specifically 1 mana cost per 1 spell per turn. If it's a Beast, I can reduce its cost by 1. So we're going to put that out there as well. Now I've got the Warlock already ready, the 2 spells. Again, we're not going to go through a lot of different turns. I really just kind of wanted to go and explain how the game worked in this. Okay, so that's our planning phase. The next phase is deployment. Now, deployment occurs if you have a conjuration, a familiar, or anything with its own mana source. And essentially, you can deploy creatures or equipment or spells from that source during the deployment phase. And I'm sorry, familiars are not included in that. Most of them anyway. It's really going to be spawn points, or cards that are marked as spawn points, which are generally always going to be conjurations. That's not to say that things could change and there could be a card that I don't know about, but from my knowledge, that's how it works. Really, the deployment phase, you're going to skip over it a lot until you have that condition met. Which is going to bring us to the action phase. In the action phase, again, we have the initiative because we roll the highest, and we're going to be able to start activating our creatures one at a time. So essentially, I'm going to activate a creature, my opponent's going to activate a creature. I'll activate a creature, my opponent will activate a creature, until all of our creatures have been activated and there are no action markers left unturned, and then we'll go back to the next ready stage. So first things first, we have a quick cast phase, and this is the first one. The quick cast phase allows us again to use, or rather summon any spell, cast any spell that is a quick action spell, which is designated again by the lightning bolt. Now, if you remember, we prepared the Ring of Beasts, which is a quick action spell. It's going to cost 2. So we'll go ahead and use our quick cast and spend 2 mana, shifting our mana from 19 to 17, and playing the Ring of Beasts. And again, this would be off the table, but I'm kind of limited on room here, so it's on the table now. Please forgive me. Now our opponent gets the opportunity to decide if they want to do their first quick cast. And let's just say, for argument's sake, the Warlock is going to decline the quick cast right now. That's going to bring us back to our turn, and then we have our creature actions, which is our action markers here. So here we get activate any creature or mage that we have control of with one of our action markers. Right now, the only thing that we have is our Beastmaster, but we're about to change that. We're going to go ahead and turn this upside down. We're going to activate our Ring of Beasts and play a Timberwolf for 8 mana. We're also going to use our pet ability, which is going to cost us a little bit more mana. It's the creature's level plus 1 mana. And so since we're summoning a level 2 creature, that's going to be 3 additional mana on top of our wolf, which is going to be a total of 11. So we're going to go down to 5 mana from our, 6 mana from 17. We also have the ability or the opportunity now to put our pet token, our pet token on the wolf. So this basically lets us know that that wolf is a pet. He is also going to get his very own action marker. And action markers are placed on newly summoned creatures face down unless they have the keyword that allows them to act the same stage as they are being summoned. So it's essentially summoning sickness, if you're familiar with that within other dueling wizard games. Okay, now it's the Warlock's turn, and the Warlock is going to go ahead at this time, use his action, and he's going to summon a demon. And the demon that he's summoning, is the Dark Pact Slayer. So he's going to put that into play. And again, it gets its own marker. And then he's going to use the final quick cast phase to utilize his quick cast action and bring out the Ring of Curses, and he'll summon that for 2. Now, this is the first round of the game, and this is a pretty common open with the Beastmaster. You're putting a beast out to get a pet. And again, not to be too strategic and point out too many things with a particular mage, but this is a solid open for us, and the Beastmaster has one, or rather the Warlock has one as well. So let's go into turn 2. We're going to pass the initiative marker over. We're going to reset, which is going to be to turn over all of our action markers now. Our opponent will do the same. And we're also going to hit up our channeling. So we're going to add another 9 mana to our pool, bringing us to 15. And we're going to do our upkeep phase. Right now we don't have anything to upkeep, so we're going to pass that. And on to planning. So we're going to open back our book and pull out, again, any 2 spells that we want. And we have 15 mana now. So you know what? Let's get a weapon. Let's start heading into combat. Excuse me. I was using this as a demo, and some of my spells are a little out of order, so not where I'm expecting them to be. So we're going to prepare our Staff of Beasts, and we're also going to prepare our Bearskin Armor, just to give us a little bit of... Actually, you know what? We're going to prepare our Elemental Cloak. So we know that we're playing a Warlock, and he likes to use a lot of fire powers, so we're going to use this and hopefully nullify some of that damage. And our Warlock will have to prepare 2 spells as well. Now, let's cut here, and let's move some pieces around, fast forward a bit, and get into some actual combat. Okay, I've moved some things around here, and I wanted to show you how combat works. Now, let's say I'm going to forego the quick casting phase and the planning stage of this particular round, and we're just going to roll a few dice. So, argument's sake, it's my turn. I have the ability to activate a creature first. I am going to activate my Timberwolf and declare an attack on the Dark Pact Slayer. Now, my Timberwolf, again, is a pet, which means that he is going to have +1 to melee, +3 to life, +1 to armor, and if I'm in the same zone as him, which we are now, he's going to have an additional +1. So he's going to get 2 more attack dice on this turn, bringing his total of damage up to 6 dice. So we'll have those ready. We're going to declare our target, which is the Dark Pact Slayer. Now, the Dark Pact Slayer doesn't have any sort of active armor or any mitigation that will prevent this damage from going through. So we're going to go immediately into rolling. Now, there are active blocking that you can do that would allow us to bypass the roll. Or rather, before the roll, we'd have to roll an effect die and get over their active armor amount if our attack is successful. If we don't succeed on that, our attack completely misses and we don't roll any damage. Active armor is a heck of an enchantment for a creature that doesn't already have it, and for those that are built with it, they are very formidable foes. So we're going to roll our damage, and hopefully we're going to get a heck of a roll here. Okay, that is an okay roll, and to show on the table, we've got a bunch of criticals here. 1 normal damage, 1 empty. The Dark Pact Slayer has 2 armor. So it's going to soak up 2 points of normal damage that we have. Since we only have 1, we're going to bypass this. But the Dark Pact Slayer is going to take the additional 6 damage onto him. And we'll just take a 6 out of the token pool and put that onto that creature, leaving him with a total of 8 health. That was a heck of a strike. So our Timberwolf just attacked the Dark Pact Slayer and dealt a crushing 6 damage to him. Now, Dark Pact Slayer still has 8 points of damage that he can take, and it's rather the Warlock's turn to activate a creature. Now, the Warlock is still over here in this zone, And remember, you can activate any creature that you control, including your mage, on your turn. You're only activating one at a time. So the Warlock is going to now activate himself as an actual opponent here. And he has a spell he's readied, and it's the dreaded Fireball. This Fireball is going to deal 6 damage to a creature or mage or conjuration within 2 zones of it as it being cast. So the Warlock could essentially attack something 2 zones away. Now, something to remember in this game is that diagonal does not exist. Everything is orthogonal, which means when we're counting zones, we can only count the zones that are up or to the side, never diagonal. So 2 zones away could be diagonal if we went 1, 2 right here. Or 1, 2, 1, 2. You get the picture. So he's going to cast Fireball. Now Fireball is going to deal against 6 damage. It's a fire-based attack, and it has the opportunity to roll the effect die to stack burn. And the Warlock is going to declare us as the actual target of this spell. So let's see. Let's see what he rolls. He's rolling 6, and he did not do so hot on this. Now he's got 4 damage that is critical and 1 normal. Excuse me. It's not the best spell. It's not the best. Rather, it's not the best amount of damage when you're getting 6 dice. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. He's going to deal 6 damage to me. And we'll just put it down there like that. Now, we have opportunities to heal that in later rounds. We have other ways to be able to mitigate some of that damage if we had armor on. Since we don't, we have to take all 6. Now it's our turn to activate. And we're going to go ahead and activate our Beastmaster now and deal a melee attack to the Darkpack Slayer. Now the Beastmaster's melee skill is 3 by default, but he gets a +1 to melee because of his battle skill. So we're going to be rolling 4 attack dice. We're going to declare the Darkpack Slayer as our target and roll. Oh, and we didn't do too hot either. We hit him with 2 critical and then 0 on all the other dice. So we're going to take 2 pips here, and we're going to put them on, bringing his total life to damage to 8 and leaving him with 6 more hit points. Now the Darkpack Slayer is going to activate and attack us as the mage, or rather as his focal point of just furious demon power. Now here's something that's interesting. There is an effect in this game called Guard, which is designated by one of these tokens. A creature can essentially not do an action and guard, and this would essentially make him the target of an attack if someone is being attacked in this zone. It's essentially like a taunt if you play any massively multiplayer online role-playing games, meaning he's going to be drawing their attention and hopefully preventing our mage from taking any unnecessary damage. But since we attacked with a Timberwolf and had such a great hit, we kind of have to let that lay. So the Darkpack Slayer is going to roll, and he gets 4 damage onto us, which is going to bring our total damage value to 10, which is not where we want to be for sure, but it's the end of the round, and we have another opportunity to plan. So that's an example of combat at a basic level. You saw a little bit of magic casting, a little bit of melee attacks. All creatures have the abilities built into them on their card, and usually they'll always have some sort of quick action and sometimes even a full round action that they can do as additional attacks. Some creatures will even have multiple things that they can do, which are very nice and very resourceful to have on the battlefield. Now there's a lot to this game, and I can understand your hesitation if you're feeling any now, but I would like to take a minute just to kind of explain a couple things. Every time I've demoed this game for somebody, they've gotten it within the first 3 turns. Now, generally, they didn't make all the right decisions in those 3 turns leading up to it, but they got an idea of how to play the game within those 3 turns. And by that 3rd turn, their gears are turning and they're planning turns ahead in the future, which is something that I really like. It's a very rewarding experience. This game it take a little bit longer than most of your tabletop Dueling Wizards games. It's again about an hour to an hour and a half per play session, but the feeling of victory is second to none. And when you win a game of Mage Wars, you know it's hard fought and well earned. And it's one of those games that you just, as soon as you finish it, you want to play another one. At least I do. There is a lot of customization in this game as well. You can do so much. My recommendation for starting players is to don't think about customizing your decks at first. Start out with the Apprentice books, play Warlock versus Beastmaster, both Apprentice mode. When you're comfortable with that, play it again, now with the full-blown starter spell set, and then start to go through there and customize it, and then even check out the Priestess and the Wizard if you're so inclined. And then if you really like it after that, you can look at the different expansions, some of the other mages, get some of the other cool spell books and tomes and tokens and all that fun stuff. There's just so much to this game. It's such a rewarding experience, and I definitely like to thank Arcane Wonders for the opportunity to review this game and the abilities that they've given me, and just conquering all my friends at it, because it's something that I truly do enjoy.
Well, that's it for Mage Wars. As you can see, there is a whole lot you get out of this box. There's just so much to this game. There's so many different tokens and markers, and it's just so many skills that it really is. It's a fun game, but it is a bit of a learning experience. Mage Wars is really designed for 2 people, but they do have multiplayer variants for both 3 and 4 players. If you want to play teams, 2-on-2 is a lot of fun. The arenas can also be customized with playmats, which are very, very nice and high quality. And I really want to get my hands on one. As soon as I get some money, I'm definitely going to buy that. Overall, I love this game. I think it is to me, it's a perfect game. The game sessions themselves are a little lengthy for me normally, about an hour to an hour and a half to play a good game of Mage Wars, unless we're just getting annihilated, and then it could be a half hour. But Mage Wars is one of those games, again, that gives us all the opportunity in the same playing base to be able to really kick some butt, and that's why I really like that game, because it allows me every chance to win, and allows you every chance to win, and it puts my mind against your mind and my rolls against your rolls at the end of the day, and it balances perfectly. I hope you guys like what you see. I'm not going to give this a rating because I've been raving about it for a year now, and if you don't already know, I love this game. To me, it's perfect. You should go and buy it. You should buy 2 of it because I like it that much. The Mage Wars base set, again, comes with the Beastmaster, the Warlock, the Wizard, and the Priestess. Now, there are alternate Priest and Beastmaster that's available within an expansion set, the Conquest of Humanjaro. There's also the Force Master versus Warlord and the Druid versus Necromancer. And soon we're going to have the Forged in Fire, which is going to give us another Warlord and another Warlock to do battle with. And each has their own set of skills and abilities that's going to make them a lot of fun. I hope you guys like this video. This has been a long time coming for us, and I definitely want to make sure that this gets all the gravitas that it deserves. So if you did, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We call that superscribing. All of that information can be found on our website, which is www.letslevelup.net. Hope you guys like this video. Please, if you have any questions about Mage Wars and how it works, give us a comment here. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook, and if we don't know it, we can definitely direct you to someone at Arcane Wonders or someone within their playtesting community who does. I'd like to thank you again, and game on.